The views, opinions, and advice expressed in this podcast are solely those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and positions of Pattison Media or the sponsors of this program.
Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Wellness is.
I treat cannabis as a herb. I can infuse oil with thyme or basil in the way that I can infuse cannabis with it.
Every thought carries energy. So when we are in the shame, the guilt, grief, fear energy, all of those low frequencies, it actually will attract more of that into our orbit.
We spent 283 days in Toronto between being at Sick Kids inpatient and being at the Ronald McDonald House.
The experience of peace and calmness inside becomes something that you really crave for, that you long for, and that you realize is part of your true self, your true nature.
Welcome to Everything Lifestyle, your podcast for practical advice about how to attain better physical and mental well-being, so that instead of just surviving, you're thriving. Everything Lifestyle is powered by Pattison Media. In this series, we'll share a health journey, explore the trends, and talk to the experts, and hear stories and advice that will help you live your best life. In this episode, pot cooking, why Reiki is trending, a mother's journey with her new baby, and what kind of friend are you with Life Unlimited Stephanie Staples. And then it's meditation, not a coma. I'm Linda Freeman. Come join the journey of Everything Lifestyle.
How to choose wellness.
You know what I brought?
What?
A medical marijuana cookie. Ben gave it to me last Christmas.
What?
Yeah, I brought it.
You did?
Chocolate chip cookie.
Should we do it?
Let's eat the cookie and then we'll order a bunch of cheeseburgers and a bunch of, let's order the entire room service menu.
How much are we supposed to eat?
I don't know. I think like 6 or 7 cookies, right?
Plus it's old. It probably has lost some of its
Potency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking a taste of Jamaica, a dash of cannabis, and a whole lot of community. It's pot cooking on the agenda. And we've been fortunate to connect with a Vancouver, Canada-based company called Faded Living, steered by founder Nicole Hines. Nicole has deep roots in Jamaican culture and over 7 years of experience in cannabis education. Nicole, it is so awesome to have you on. Thanks for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Linda.
Oh, my pleasure. So I wanted to get you to talk about this culinary experience, and it'll give people a really good understanding of what it is that you do and what Faded Living is all about.
Absolutely. So Faded Living is a company that has a main focus to normalize the youth of the plant. And one of the ways that I found to be a gateway into kind of normalizing it is through food. And with me, of Jamaican descent, and I've ran a food business prior, many years ago, that focused on Jamaican fusion. I found how awesome to have Jamaican fusion cuisine infused. So it's kind of like this double fusion of my love for my culture. I have been a cannabis consumer for many, many years. I had a car accident when I was about 40, and that was when I decided to use cannabis as a form of pain management. So I became a medical cannabis patient. I realized that cooking would be a really great way to consume. And I really wanted to do something a bit different and go into the savory side. Jamaicans cook with feeling, right?
I'm really intrigued by the ability to incorporate it in other ways, but it can be a scary world for people because they're like, I don't know how I'm going to react. But that's the other side of your world, is that education piece. So what can you tell people about that so it's not so scary and big?
Exactly. And I will add even a part 2 to that even people who consume cannabis regularly and they are heavy smokers can be affected by eating it completely, so even from the new user to the experienced user can also have uncomfortable experiences. And one of the things that I chose to do to help to normalize like consuming the plant is to work with low THC. So I recommend getting things that are high in CBD and low in THC to start with, and to infuse your oils and butters to create beautiful dishes with. The second thing that I teach is working with 1 cup of oil or butter or a sweetener like maple syrup or honey to 3.5 grams of cannabis. Start low, go slow is really the motto. The beauty is you can go into a dispensary and ask for something that's high in CBD, which is less psychoactive, right? Like CBD is a little bit more gentler, but I believe that it's important to have THC there as well because they work so well together.
A lot of us heard CBD, THC, but maybe aren't clear on the exact differences. Can you just give us some understanding of that?
For sure. So THC is where you're going to get your psychoactive, your elevated feeling, right? And that's what people are usually afraid of. CBD is a little bit more therapeutic. It can help with like, for some folks, like anxiety, and for some folks, pain. But what I find with CBD, it's one of those things that you will consume it regularly and not realize much of the work that it's doing until you stop taking it. And then that's when, you might feel anxious, and that's when you might feel, certain things, and you're like, okay, it really works. So it's not this like instant effect that THC has.
They have linked it to lowering blood pressure, even reducing inflammation, as well as treating, as you just mentioned there, anxiety and anxiety disorders. So it is fascinating the amount of work that's being done around it. And I love the fact that you've now infused this into cooking, because I think it could be very helpful for a lot of people that, might just have shied away from it altogether.
What I will say, though, is that what smoking does for you is you get the instant feeling of what it's going to feel like for you. You smoke, and then, the heat activates the dry cannabis, and then you're going to pretty instantly feel it. Whereas eating it can take 30 minutes, it can take an hour, it can take 15 minutes, it can take 2 hours. It really all depends on the person. And what happens is people will take it and they won't feel anything, and then they'll take more.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Okay, how many gummies did you take?
I don't know. I took one, then it didn't work, so I took a second one. Then the first one kicked in, and I got hungry, and I took the third one. Don't ever take the third one.
Okay, you're gonna sit down on the couch right here, and everything's gonna be fine.
I can't walk.
Huh?
My feet are on the wrong feet.
And, people don't necessarily correlate it to that at first, but really, it's like you didn't give yourself enough time. And the start low, go slow thing is really a thing, especially for new folks to any consumption method of the plant, right? Because there's so many ways. Topical, right? Like even that, it's always recommend try a little bit, see how it feels for you before you lather your whole body.
Yeah, that's right. Before you bathe in it, maybe, try just a little bit at a time. And I really love that. And I thought it was such a cool thing that you pulled your roots and the flavors of Jamaica.
Absolutely. So I treat cannabis as a herb. I can infuse oil with thyme or basil, and that's in the way that I can infuse cannabis with it. And because the flavors of Jamaica, like the warm and the heat, like working with allspice and cinnamon and nutmeg, it actually works really well with cannabis. So I tend to allow for the flavors of the plant to come through as opposed to masking it. One of the things that you have to do with cannabis when you're cooking it is, we talked about THC, where it's that's the active that helps to get you into that state. Cannabis in its natural form doesn't have THC. It has actually THCA, right? So there's an acid that's on there. It is adding the heat to it, which is a process called decarboxylation that allows for the A molecule or the acid to drop off and turn it into THC. You have to literally bake it, get yourself baked. But the thing is, you need to work with low heat.
So a good way to start is to infuse an oil or a butter with cannabis, and then you use that within your cooking.
Yes. And with your cooking, it will be recipes that have low heat. So what I tend to do is I tend to make salad dressings, gravies, chutneys, anything that I can do sort of in a slow cooker on low or even in a rice cooker on low. And the reason being is that if you bring that infused oil or butter to a really high heat, you're burning off cannabinoids.
Okay.
So you're burning off all the goodness that you literally spent the time
Right.
infusing, right?
And money on.
So to keep all of the goodness of your infusions, it's recommended that you do things that are on low temperatures. And so that's why you'll see a lot of dips and the dressings and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it too, like Jamaican rice and peas. I just added the infused oil and there we are. Like anything that requires oil or butter or a sweetener can be an infused dish.
So you bake, then it's slow and low with whatever you're going to infuse it with, whether it's an oil, a butter, vinegar, and then strain as you jar and then label so that you know what you're using.
Absolutely.
What advice do you have for people, that this is new to them?
There's a couple things, like for somebody who might be brand spanking new and doesn't want to arts and crafts it yet and do it themselves. The beauty is like dispensaries are now diversifying with some of their products when it comes to the edible side. And there are some products out there that are already infused olive oil. So it does all the stuff for you. Or there are beverages on the market that you can at least start to try.
Is there a cookbook yet?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you for reminding me. There is currently a cookbook out right now called Faded Kitchen. It's with 10 herb infused recipes. So you can find it on fadedliving.com. And you can also, if you are an Etsy shopper, just search Faded Kitchen and you will find that. And it includes like all the tips that I shared today.
Thanks so much. It was great chatting with you.
Oh, thank you so much for your time.
Any medical claims made are the opinion of the guest and do not constitute medical advice or the opinion of Pattison Media, Everything Podcasts, or any advertiser. But if you want a bit more info on how to get started, you can head over to everythinglifestyle.ca for a great video with Nicole on the gadgets you can use to do some at-home cooking. Coming up, we talk about muscle support.
Health Tag.
We're going to be taking a breath into your belly, into your heart, and then out. It's a Japanese healing arts technique used for stress reduction. It brings one back to their most natural state of being, out of fight, flight, freeze mode, back into a rest and digest mode.
Reiki energy healing has been around at least for thousands of years, and in fact, some feel it's been around since the beginning of time. Lately, it's been gaining more traction on social media. So Everything Lifestyle's Kat Cullen caught up with a Reiki teacher to give us a little more of a feel for this style of healing.
Thank you so much, Linda. Michelle Houston joins me today. She is an author, Reiki teacher, and a life coach for women. Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
For those that maybe aren't familiar with the practice of Reiki, can you maybe give us kind of the Coles Notes overview of what someone could expect when they first begin a session with you?
Basically, Reiki is a form of energy work. So as some people may or may not know, we are made up of energy. Everything in our environment is made up of energy. And when we have blockages within our energy system, that can create more difficulties within our life. So we might find that we're more stressed, or maybe we aren't speaking our truth the way that we really deserve to be because we have these blockages. When somebody comes, they lay on a massage table on their back, they're fully clothed, and it can either be where I'm putting my hands on like their shoulders or maybe their knees or the top of their head, or I can do it without hands-on practice as well. So it's a really great non-invasive way to work through emotions that are ready to release from your body without you having to necessarily even verbalize anything.
And when you talk about energy work, how do you help newcomers like myself sort of visualize or wrap their heads around the techniques you're using?
So typically, The way I pick up on energy from people is I see, hear, and feel. So if there's a certain feeling within your body, I'm typically picking up on it. So if you have pain somewhere, or if I feel like I need to take a deep breath, it typically means you need to take that deep breath. So every session is completely unique to the individual. And I trust my intuition and where I'm guided to as well. I really want to put an emphasis on that. So for you and your session, it might be completely different from somebody else, because I might be guided to go right to the hips because that's where all the trauma is held. I can work through the visualization of things.
You talked about being able to visualize or relive the trauma someone has experienced. That must weigh very heavy on you at the end of a day of helping everybody else with their trauma and their difficulty. How do you kind of separate yourself or kind of cleanse yourself at the end of the day to not take that weight home with you?
When I first started practicing, I did find I would internalize a lot of it, and I really had to learn how to focus on grounding. And I'd love to share them so that people can actually take something away from this to put into their daily practice of kind of keeping themselves together. So one of the grounding techniques, it can be as simple as going outside and putting your feet to the earth and really just feeling connected to that earth energy. Or another technique being to visualize you have beautiful, strong roots that are connected from your feet that just go right to the center of the earth. And you can actually feel like that earth energy pulling you down. And then another technique would even be as simple as visualizing this beautiful golden bubble of protection around you. And around that everything is mirrored. So if there's any of the low frequency energy that's in your area, or maybe there's, somebody that's kind of giving you a hard time, or you're going into a really difficult conversation or situation that would typically make you feel ick, to just put this bubble of protection, visualizing, our minds are so powerful, to visualize this golden bubble around you that's pure loving energy, and it's all mirrored. So anything that's coming at you is deflected.
You talked about the energy work that you do. It helps to fortify or bolster some of the energy that somebody already has within them. Can you dive a little deeper into that for us?
Yes, I'd love to. Every thought carries energy. So when we are in the shame, the guilt, grief, fear energy, all of those low frequencies, it actually will attract more of that into our orbit. And we don't want that. So the more you can live in this place of love versus fear. So when somebody's being really difficult, look at them from the lens of love, even thinking of them as this 8-year-old child that is in there, and talking to them in a more gentle way, right? Because our perception shifts when we're not in that fear-based anger type energy, and we're in this loving, compassionate energy. And the more that we can be in this loving, compassionate energy for others, and most importantly for ourselves, we're going to attract more high frequency energy into our life. So high frequency thoughts are kind of acceptance, love, peace, but most importantly, it starts at courage. Because once you have the courage to choose love over fear, it shifts you. And every time you become activated or triggered, it's you can feel the contraction in our body. Whereas activated, it's there's something going on, and it's leads you to more curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Definitely more positive connotation on activate versus trigger.
Yeah. And our words are so powerful, right? And so when we can be in this place of courage to look at things a little bit differently, or to explore, ask questions, be in curiosity, then it allows us to really elevate our frequency. And when we're doing that, it leaves more opportunity for us to invite those loving people into our lives, new friendships, new relationships. And when people are why do I attract the same type of partner over and over and over again? It's because there's a lesson for you to learn through that heartache and those difficult situations, we'll call it. And so the more you can focus inward with courage to look in and see why am I attracting this? What am I trying to fix in that person? Where does this come from? What part of younger me needs some attention so that we can move through this and not keep attracting those people that we need to fix, etc. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, that's very good. Now, through your book, Breakthrough, it's an empowering collection of essays that really shatter those societal norms and help you reimagine your midlife identity as a woman. How do you feel that your role as a life coach for women crosses over with the lessons you've learned and experiences you've had as a Reiki teacher?
I bring that to my practice with Reiki and with coaching because I have that element where I can feel what they're feeling. It allows me to have more compassion, to just sit and listen and to be able to work through it with what best suits them.
Michelle, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for using your experiences and your talent to help other women break through. You can learn more about Reiki and Michelle's work on Instagram at Michelle Hewson Wellness, and her book, Breakthrough, is available now. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you, Kat.
Coming up later, how does meditation really work? It's not a coma state of mind.
Life Unlocked.
Why you should be lifting, moving, and grooving. Whether you're 18 or 80, your body can benefit from lifting weights, and you can do it at home. So let's unpack this, shall we? First, let's talk muscles. Muscles are soft tissues in your body that allow you to perform various activities, from standing still to running. Muscles support your organs, including your heart that beats thousands of times daily to keep you alive. So adding strength training to your workout regime is a great way to keep yourself healthy. It's all about putting your muscles under just the right amount of tension to help them grow stronger and more resilient. In simple terms, strength training is any exercise that gets your muscles working using your body weight, resistance bands, or weights. The goal? Build muscle, boost endurance, and increase overall strength. Let's walk through the perks. You'll be stronger, obviously. Who doesn't want to carry all their grocery bags in one trip? Okay, well, maybe that's more like a juggling act, but strength training helps make everyday tasks like lifting your kids, rearranging furniture, or even gardening a breeze. Plus, if you're into sports, building muscle can help improve your speed, power, and overall performance. Muscle is a calorie-burning machine. You can Netflix and chill and still burn calories, since strength training revs up your metabolism. Muscles burn more calories at rest than fat does. And get this, after a good strength workout, your body keeps burning extra calories for hours, sometimes even days. Talk about efficiency. Say goodbye to belly fat. The good old belly fat called visceral fat is the bad fat linked to serious health risks like heart disease and diabetes. Now, the good news, studies show strength training can help reduce overall body fat, including the extra around the midsection. Steady on your feet, strength training helps with balance, coordination, and stability. Super important as you age. Stronger muscles mean fewer falls. Studies have found that exercises like weight training and resistance bands can significantly reduce the risk of falling. A happy heart and better blood. Your heart loves strength training as much as your biceps do. Regular sessions can lower blood pressure, reduce bad cholesterol, and keep your heart in top shape. Not to mention, helps regulate blood sugar levels. In fact, research suggests it can lower the risk of developing diabetes by up to 30%. Stronger bones, fewer breaks. As we age, our bones need extra love. Strength training signals bone-building cells to get to work, reducing the risk of osteoporosis and keeping your skeleton strong. And finally, brain gains. Your brain benefits from strength training just as much as your muscles do. Studies suggest it can help improve memory and cognitive function, especially as you age. Some research even links it to a lower risk of age-related mental decline. So at the end of the day, strength training isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good, staying strong, and living life to the fullest. Now, coming up on Everything Lifestyle, Life Unlimited Stephanie Staples talks types of friends.
Being real.
Imagine the excitement when you're told you just gave birth to a healthy baby boy. but then quickly learn there's a complication. Your baby's been born with a rare liver disease. This is Emily's story. This is Being Real.
Biliary atresia is a rare and chronic liver disease that happens in infancy if it is going to happen. So it affects about I believe the statistic is 1 in every 10 to 20,000 infants will be diagnosed with this type of pediatric liver disease. My son Miles ended up having it, and it is not a fun little walk in the park. It's basically the gallbladder and your bile ducts don't either develop properly, or in Miles's situation, his gallbladder developed and then just kind of crumbled on itself, which caused bile to back up into his liver and caused those bile ducts to become scarred. And if the bile isn't flowing through properly, you end up seeing these signs and symptoms of jaundiced skin, jaundiced eyes, pale colored stools, low weight gain, or no weight gain at all. Those are kind of the big indicators of the disease. It's funny to think back to the early days of when he was diagnosed, because he was diagnosed with BA at 6.5 weeks. I think it was closer to 7. I believe it was day 53 of life that he had his first surgery. And I remember standing in the waiting room thinking to myself, there's no way that he's not going to need a transplant in the next year. I just kind of had this feeling, and I was right. I think it was just over a year that he actually got the transplant. So it was crazy I ended up having to do the public appeal because people around us, and myself included, were all getting tested to see if we were a match for transplant. And it just wasn't working out. So I had to branch out a little bit further, which is a strange thing to ask strangers. But people are so wonderful and so giving and so nice. It's really heartwarming to see the community kind of come together and surround us and hold us in place in some way. We spent 283 days in Toronto between being at Sick Kids inpatient and being at the Ronald McDonald House. We went in May 25th of 2024 and stayed until January 13th, I believe it was, the second week of January. We went home with the NG tube and all of his meds, and you get a toolbox for all of your meds. It's like a Stanley toolbox because some of his medications are hazardous, and you have to wear gloves, and you have to be careful that you're getting the correct amount and you're not spilling anything and it's not touching your skin, ideally not his skin either. It's a lot. That first discharge was a lot, and then the second discharge was also a lot because we went home with a PICC line. So that's a central line that goes directly right above his heart. So it's like immediate access. But then I had to learn how to care for it and how to do the dressing change and how to do the cap change. And then we went back in the third time we were discharged was the last time. So coming home, he's had nothing. He has no lines on him, no tubes coming out of him at all. So it's kind of just like taking home your baby from the hospital after you have them almost. It was like a new beginning starting. The entire team at Sick Kids is just amazing. Every single person that we dealt with there, whether it was the nurses on 6A, they are the best nurses ever. I love them. And then our nurse practitioners that we see in clinic are also wonderful, and all the doctors. And Ronald McDonald House, they really felt like home there for that 10 months, which was wonderful. So I'm so grateful and thankful to everyone at both Sick Kids and RMH Toronto.
Thank you for sharing your story, Emily. For more amazing personal journey stories, head to everythinglifestyle.ca.
Life Unlimited with Stephanie Staples.
She's not your typical keynote speaker, coach, or consultant. She's a little quirky, a little unconventional, and 100% dedicated to making a difference. From a 5'2" nurse with a nice little life to an award-winning speaker, coach, entrepreneur, columnist, and consultant, Stephanie Staples' journey took off when she followed her passion for personal development. Since then, she's graced stages from Mayo Clinic to the Middle East, written for top publications, launched businesses, some triumphs, some lessons, and achieved the highest designation in professional speaking, the Certified Speaking Professional, or CSP. She doesn't claim to be an expert in everything, but she's always real, always engaging, and always ready to spark meaningful conversations about living your life unlimited. So grab a cup of tea, coffee, or whatever fuels you, and get ready for the ride. Hello, Steph.
We always have a good chit chat. We do. We're always too short, but we always have a good chit chat.
I know. Well, we could talk the whole entire Everything Lifestyle podcast and fill that, no problem.
But that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, that's right. I got, a few other people have stuff to say. I was on your site. I love to see what you put in your blogs and stuff. And you had mentioned in your blog about the 3 types of friends. And I was like, okay, I got to talk to Steph about this because I've had this conversation with a few people recently about what type of friend are you? So can you introduce us to the 3 types of friends?
I'm sure there's more, but here are 3, and that really kind of resonated with me that I'm like, I could totally relate to this. So the first one is the advantage type of friendship. So this one tends to be a little bit more shallow, a little bit maybe self-centered, sometimes a little shorter than the norm, but it comes with benefits. A friend's benefits, not those kind.
I was going to say, hey, wait a minute, that's another topic.
There's something in it for you or for them to have this friendship going. And when that benefit disappears, often the friendship disappears too. And the example that kind of came to my mind for this one is when my kids were younger, people that we carpooled with. So there was a definite advantage to that friendship, right? It was, you liked each other well enough, but it wasn't like after the carpool, oh, come over and, do anything together. And when the carpool was done, the friendship was done. It wasn't like we had a fight or anything. It was like, it was an advantageous to both of us.
There's lots of those through life, right? Where you like the people well enough, you have good conversations, but then once whatever it is that you've been doing with that person is done, then that's kind of it.
Right. And nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's totally fine. I think it's just important to know, to just be aware of it and acknowledge it. And so the second type is a pleasure friendship. And that is people that we really enjoy spending time with these people. Maybe it's teammates, maybe it's your book club. There's a lot of joy and camaraderie with these people, but it's based upon some common interest. So many people have lots of friendships in this category, and this might be the area where you have the most friends, as opposed to the next level, which is character friendships. But these are the deepest friendships. They're built on trust, they're built on time. That person recognizes those virtues that you have. You help each other grow. You have this genuine concern for the other person. Like, you're going to drop everything if they call you, like, you're there, they're your person. I think it kind of helps to just categorize them a little bit. So maybe you're not expecting too much from a friendship that's not in the right kind of silo to deliver. Is that making sense?
It does. And I like the way you've broken it down. But I personally truly think it's the character friendships that are the ones that go really deep, and that that person, no matter what happens in your life, will always be there for you. And those are so meaningful stuff.
Yes. I think one of the most important things about the character friendship is that those are the ones that we should be more inclined to invest time in. That we're going to go deeper with these people. We're going to give them more of us because they help us make ourselves better. They help us see the world in a better view. It's not going to be a chore. It's going to be reciprocal, and we're going to encourage growth with those people. So
yes,
those are the ones we invest time with.
Yeah.
The most time.
I've heard friends say, like, you don't really make friends when you're older. And I totally disagree with that. And I'm going to tell a story of someone that I have recently become friends with that we just really clicked. And what was really funny is almost at the exact same time, we were reaching out to each other to say, I hope this isn't weird, but do you want to get tea together sometime? And Steph, I have to tell you, like, it's incredible how quickly we've developed a character friendship. And it really has opened my eyes. And I just want to share that with everyone to say, don't be afraid to approach someone that you get a good vibe from and ask them to be friends, or at least try it. It's no different than a relationship that like a love interest, really. Like it's a different kind of love affair that you can have with a true dear friend, especially if they're a character friend.
Absolutely. And chances are pretty darn good if you get that vibe off someone else, you got that vibe because they were leaning into that relationship.
Exactly.
Yes, to have that courage to reach out. So me, I moved to a new town. I'm self-employed, so I don't have a job to go to. I don't have kids that are in sports. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to make friends, but that's when you start, okay, what do I love to do? Just reaching out to people. I think you're cool.
Yeah.
Hey, want to connect?
Exactly. That's what we do in the dating scene. And I think we can date friends and see if we like them enough to then make them a pleasurable friend and then make them a character friend. Why not? Right, Steph?
That's right. Move them down the line.
I love it. What a great concept.
And I know you like the studies and such, but like research anything on happiness and your social life will be right at the top there, right? Crucial.
Yeah.
Crucial for longevity and health and mental wellness. Like everything else, it requires a little bit of investment of time and investment of effort. People are out there, they're looking for you. They're looking for someone.
That's right.
And be that person. Just be that person that you want to attract.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else before we go?
Linda, live your life unlimited. Can you just do that for me? Everybody, just live your life unlimited. We just got one, as far as we know.
Listen to those words. They're good. Yeah. Living your life unlimited with Stephanie Staples. You can go to stephaniestaples.ca for more information, finding all of great blogs there. She's got a whole bunch of good stuff on her site, so go check it out.
Mindfulness moment.
The thought of meditating can be overwhelming and unappealing for many people. To help shed a different light on the idea of meditation, we turn to Claire Maisonneuve, a registered clinical counselor with Alpine Counseling Clinic in Vancouver.
When I teach people meditation, many times they have this concept and this idea that my mind should go blank. So let me be clear, meditation is not putting you in a coma. So having a blank mind is not the objective of meditation. That ain't going to happen for you. Maybe if you have a near-death experience, I'm not sure, but that is just not going to happen for you right now, okay? So when people say to me, I expect that my mind goes blank, and because my mind isn't blank, that meditation isn't working for me or I can't do it, they quit. And that is so common. I've heard that so often. So I want to make it clear. What happens when you begin to meditate is you become aware of how crazy you feel in your mind. That is the first thing that happens. You become aware of, oh my God, there's so many thoughts. They're random. I'm thinking about whether I made my bed this morning, what I have to do. Did I answer that email? It's all over the map. And that is normal because you are becoming familiar with what you carry in your mind. Now, what you do in meditation is you simply want to bring your mind back, let's say to the breath. And let's say to the mantra. So you bring your mind back to the breath, let's say noticing the breath in your belly. And you're aware of your belly as it rises on the inhale and as it falls on the exhale. Or maybe it's on your chest. And you just stay connected with the experience of the breath in your body. And maybe on the inhale, you can repeat the sound of Om. Or on the exhale, let's say. So you inhale and Om all along on the exhale. You're going to do that for probably 10 seconds if you're lucky before your mind starts wandering. So have mercy. As soon as you find that your mind has wandered, you simply bring it back and you start again. And that is the process of meditation. You start again, you start again, you start again every time you notice your mind has wandered. And what happens with time and years years of practicing, not days or weeks or months. After years of practicing, you're able to keep your mind focused for more and more minutes. And when you keep your mind focused for more and more minutes, it means that you drop down into a level of peace and calmness inside of you that feels really thrilling, really amazing, really juicy, and really what you're looking for, really inviting. So it's really important for people to not have any expectations when they start meditating. Just do it. Just do it. Just follow the instructions. Wherever you're getting your instructions, just follow the instructions and don't have any expectations. Just do it. And with time, you'll see this experience becomes addictive. The experience of peace and calmness inside becomes something that you really crave for, that you long for, and that you realize is part of your true self, your true nature.
Thanks, Claire. You can find Claire at anxietyandstressrelief.com. And head to everythinglifestyle.ca for meditation with Amanda. Life is challenging, and choosing wellness in our daily lives may seem like adding to the already long to-do list. But together, we can make it easier. On the next episode of Everything Lifestyle, we tackle skin and how you can clear it. I'm Linda Freeman. Let's connect again soon as together we take the journey of Everything Lifestyle. You've been listening to Everything Lifestyle, an initiative powered by Pattison Media, designed to inspire and motivate a healthy life. For more information on this program, go to everythinglifestyle.ca.
Another Everything Podcast production. Visit everythingpodcast.com, a division of Pattison Media. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.